I know Washington Post and the New York Post is laying off hundreds of writers. Vice News, the news organization, might be obsolete altogether. They might be filing bankruptcy because AI is taking their jobs.
Hello, Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show, the good news and bad news about money. And we're broadcasting from Old Town in Scottsdale, Arizona. And today we have a very important show. About a couple of years ago or 3 years ago, we joined forces with Prager University. And the reason we joined forces with Dennis Prager and his great organization is, as you may know, that most schools today are pretty left or liberal or Marxist, whatever you call it. And PragerU maintains a very a very solid line with capitalism and conservatism and values that are more in line with conservative, values here. And I did a program with Dennis Prager, I think a year and 2 years ago, here in Scottsdale, Arizona, in Arizona State University, and the professors came after us because they didn't like us teaching capitalism. So I'm happy to talk about Prager University's new entrepreneurial program for young people, because I think it's important that if you want your child to grow up as a capitalist, not a Marxist or central planner, I think it's best we listen to what we're doing here at Prager University. And it's a tragedy what's happening in schools. I was just reading The Economist before I came on here. 9 out of 10 professors are left. They're more, say, Democrat. And so are the university presidents. So to send your child to a regular school, to me, is you may as well send them, to the Marxist manifesto here, communism. And with Prager University, Dennis Prager is now teaching capitalism. So heading up the program for Prager University is Aldo Buttazzoni. Did I pronounce that correctly, Aldo?
You got it.
Thank you. Would you mind telling our group what Prager University is going to be teaching young people about entrepreneurship and capitalism?
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me, Robert. We at PragerU saw exactly what you saw. We saw a generation of children, generation of kids that was going through the American education system from high school to college, and they were coming out indoctrinated. They were coming out Marxist, communist. They were coming out with values that were not their own going in. But maybe worse than that is they were not coming out free thinkers, and they're definitely not coming out critical thinkers. And so that's kind of what started our mission at PragerU in general, is having a community and having a resources that people can watch and become better critical thinkers. But we wanted to take that a step further, because we know that there's a sentiment in the America right now, especially among my generation, Gen Z, that in order to be successful in this country, you have to take the conventional route, which is go to high school, go to college, graduate, have your degree, and leverage that to get a corporate 9-to-5 job. But that is not working out anymore, and it's definitely not creating a happy generation. And so we want to tell the younger generation, we want to tell Gen Z and all Americans that there is another way. In fact, entrepreneurship built this country. Entrepreneurship is what American values are all about. And so we wanted a way to reinstill those values and that mindset back into the younger generation. And so we started a show called The Hustle, which I am hosting, where we found the 10 best entrepreneurs that we could find around this country. And we interviewed them, we heard their stories, and we learned about their businesses. We learned about their mindset. What is the mindset of an entrepreneur? What are the values that you need? How did you build your business? And so we got 10 young entrepreneurs with incredible businesses, incredible stories that we could share now with millions of people, and kind of get their blueprint of what makes them a successful entrepreneur, so that everyday Americans and the younger generation can replicate that and just find a new path than the conventional one. And it's been incredible to see and to hear the stories of these young entrepreneurs. And Robert, I really think that again, this show is not just going to help us make better entrepreneurs, but it's going to help us make better Americans and help us make better critical thinkers. So I'm really proud of this show, and I can't wait for more people to see it.
Well, congratulations. How old are these entrepreneurs?
Anywhere from 13 years old all the way up to 21. And so really what this show does is it breaks down the myth that entrepreneurship, 1, is difficult, 2, that entrepreneurship is expensive, and most importantly, that entrepreneurship is limited by age. I had one entrepreneur that was 13 years old. He was making thousands of dollars every month with his car washing business. We had another young entrepreneur, 13 years old, who was making thousands of dollars traveling around the country, selling, she called it her historical apothecary. So, wellness goods. when she was 13 years old. And I recently released one, or it's coming up next week, of a 21-year-old entrepreneur. He's married with a kid and another on the way, and he's making hundreds of thousands of dollars with his power washing business in Alabama. So these are truly incredible entrepreneurs, incredible people, and being able now to share their experiences and, like I said, share a blueprint of how other Americans, other young Americans can replicate their success is really exciting for us.
So how do you communicate to the next generation via Prager University? How is that done? For those who may not know, may not be familiar with PragerU.
Yeah, well, something we pride ourselves on here at PragerU is reaching the next generation, and we do that by having fun. We don't want to just focus on the educational aspect of our shows, but the entertainment as well. And so The Hustle, our new program, it has this diners, drive-ins, and dives type feel where we go to a different location, we hear about their story, and then the second half of the program, we get to learn from the entrepreneurs, and I get to take their business hands-on. So I get to try my hand at power washing or washing cars or leather working or making goods out of beeswax. Whatever the entrepreneur is, I tried my hand on it, and we feel that really resonates with the younger generation of doing the hands-on stuff and it really being an entertaining show.
Well, I'm glad Prager's taking this on because there's some facts that many people are not aware of. There's actually too many college graduates today. With Amazon and Meta, or what's it called, Microsoft, they're laying off tens of thousands of college graduates. So there's an abundance of college graduates, and another technology entering the scene right now is AI. And AI is going to replace anybody. I think today the best businesses are not college graduates, but being an electrician or a plumber, something you work with your hands and your mind together. But if you're purely what they call a knowledge worker, you graduate with a Bachelor of Science degree or an MBA, you're not worth anything. And it's only going to get worse. So that's for parents. I would think about that simply because AI is going to replace millions and millions and millions of people. And what America or the world really needs are more entrepreneurs, not employees. The saying, go to school and get a job makes you an employee, or go to school and become a doctor and makes you a specialist. But what we need are more entrepreneurs. So that's why if you want to protect your kids' future, I would have them watch Aldo on his show.
Yeah, well, like you said, AI is already taking over thousands of jobs just in the last couple of weeks. I know Washington Post and the New York Post is laying off hundreds of writers. Vice News, the news organization, might be obsolete altogether. They might be filing bankruptcy because AI is taking their jobs.
Who is this? Who is this?
Vice News. Yeah, they might be going bankrupt.
What's Vice News?
Vice News, they're a big media conglomerate, so it's on the younger generation. But what you said though is so true. Is the lie that our generation has been told is that as long as you get a college degree, you will have a successful job that will afford you a middle income life in this country. But that's simply not the case. And you can go on TikTok or Instagram or any of these platforms, and you can find these videos so easily, Robert, of young graduates that are 25 to 30 years old talking about this lie, that they were told that they would be able to get a normal job and they would be able to live on their own, have a family, and buy a house. But that's simply not the case. They're taking jobs that they hate to afford a apartment that is too small, groceries they can't afford, and many of them are still living at home. And what's so interesting about the entrepreneurs that I spoke with is that a disproportionate amount of them were homeschooled. And it got me thinking, why are all of these entrepreneurs homeschooled? Is there a correlation perhaps between free thinkers and not being in the American education system? And my conclusion was, yes, of course, that is true. And I don't know if you know the quote, but Rockefeller, who had a very heavy influence in propagating the American education system, he said that he doesn't want a country full of thinkers. He wants a country full of workers. And that sentiment is definitely held true today, with college graduates, again, going into this pipeline of graduating college, getting your degree, and then working as a cog in the machine in corporate America. And that simply is not going to be able to afford you a middle income life anymore, with inflation and with the economy going the way it is. But that's what entrepreneurship is about. It's not about being really good at, a specialty. It's being able to find a problem and solve it and make money when you do it. And that's really the most, I think, beneficial part of the show. Isn't about the businesses themselves, but it's the mindset of the entrepreneur, of, again, finding a problem and then creating a solution and marketing that to people.
Oh, that's there's even bigger problem than that. This guy, Obama, he pushed student loan debt. And today, the graduates from today in America, America's the biggest debtor nation in the world because we have no financial education in our schools. Because the world's going to get tougher with the debt coming on at high speed. I think we're going to bypass a recession. Good possibility of a depression. And when there's a depression, millions or more people lose their jobs. And I'll say it one more time. My stats show that there's too many college graduates without skills that are useful in the real world. So I'm an entrepreneur. I've taken 3 companies public. That's my cash flow board game here. I've taken public on the Toronto Stock Exchange, New York Stock Exchange, and next summer I take a company public on the NASDAQ. That's what entrepreneurs do. That's what real entrepreneurs do. They don't just make money. So they're capitalists. They take companies public on stock exchanges. And that's what I was trained to do. But the biggest problem today is because America is so bankrupt, and Obama and Biden, and I'm not Republican or Democrat, but you watch what a person does, not what they say. But today, for America, the number one asset is student loan debt. So America intentionally got guys your age, got you into college, got you an education you cannot use, producing people with no life skills. And then you're indebted with the worst type of debt possible, which is student loan debt. That's criminal. That's absolutely criminal. So I don't know if you teach that, but that's why I have the cash flow board game here. It's really about money. The fast track out there, the outside ring, is where I operate. That's where the entrepreneur operates. The little circle in the middle is the rat race. That's why you go to school for, to get in the rat race. And so that's the difference between what I teach and what Prager teaches right now. But I teach financial education, and I teach capitalism at its highest form. So Aldo, we'll be right back, but I want you to think about this. How do you take a young man? Because my poor dad taught me to go to school, get my PhD. I was a pilot. I flew for the U.S. Marine Corps, and he wanted me to go fly for the airlines, which would be an employee. My rich dad said be an entrepreneur. So that's the difference in my education. It was from my dad's, and so I say to all parents watching this program, or young parents especially, what are you teaching your kids? Are you teaching them to, as Aldo started this whole thing off, go to school and get a job, be an employee, work for the man, work for corporate America, pay taxes? That's not capitalism. So we come back, we'll be talking more and more about what we teach young people, new generation of entrepreneurs. Our guest today is Aldo Buttazzoni, and he works with Prager University. We'll be right back.
Have you heard about the expanding influence of BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and its potential to severely impact the US dollar by possibly creating a new world currency? Even JP Morgan said, and I'm paraphrasing, the impact of BRICS would most likely be felt here in the US, where moving away from the dollar would cause our financial assets, like our IRAs and 401ks, to lose value. We agree with JP Morgan and many others. Now's the time to position yourself for stability, security, and wealth protection. So take it from Robert and me, whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting, we believe that gold should be a part of everyone's portfolio. Seize the opportunity to ensure your financial future with gold, and do it with one of the best in the industry, Allegiance Gold. Allegiance Gold has done things right from the beginning, having earned 5 stars with TrustLink and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Allegiance Gold can help protect your IRA or 401k with physical gold and silver, or you can have it delivered securely to your doorstep. Get up to $5,000 in free silver on a qualifying investment when you visit protectwithrobert.com today. Or you can call 844-3-ROBERT. That's 844-3-ROBERT. Hi everyone, I'm Kim Kiyosaki. Thank you for being with us today. As CEO and co-founder of the Rich Dad Company, I can assure you Robert and I are both dedicated to our Rich Dad mission to elevate the financial well-being of humanity. And you are the humanity. We truly want you to succeed. When you succeed, we all succeed, and our mission grows stronger. With that in mind, I'm excited to extend a personal invitation to you to elevate your financial well-being by attending our exclusive free online wealth building event hosted by Robert. You'll learn what to focus on first to start increasing your cash flow immediately. You can reserve your seat right now by going to richdadonline.com. Just go to richdadonline.com. The event is 100% free and will help you achieve your financial goals.
Welcome back, Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. The good news about bad news about money. We're very happy to debate with Prager University because Dennis Prager and I've seen him several times, but we were on Arizona State University last year, and we got attacked by 39 woke professors because we were teaching capitalism, and we thought we were offensive, and I don't know what else we were doing. But I'm talking to Aldo Buttazzoni. He's the head of the next generation of entrepreneurs. His show is called The Hustle. And I think it's a very important show because we better start talking to the next generation, because as we're talking about artificial intelligence, AI is going to replace people. And today, from the stats I see, the abundance is not only migrants with no education, but we have too many college graduates with no life skills. So the younger you can start teaching your children to be entrepreneurs, the better chance they have, because entrepreneurs create jobs. People who graduate from school look for jobs. So all that we're talking about, I went to military school, and then I got nominations to Naval Academy and Merchant Marine Academy. I took Merchant Marine Academy, graduated, and then I flew for the U.S. Marine Corps in Vietnam. What made me an entrepreneur was military training, and that's why I wrote this book here. It's called the 8 Lessons of Military Leadership. And we were taught to be strong. And my concern today, all those gentlemen your age, are TikTok dancers. And what they're being taught in colleges is to dance like TikTok, and then safe spaces and don't hurt my feelings. How come they're turning men into wimps at school? That's my concern.
Well, the biggest problem with college campuses today is that they tell you about a world and they prepare you for a world that is not in line with the reality of how the world actually operates. The world is a tough place, it is unforgiving, and it recognizes you.
Everybody knows that. What are they teaching kids? You said you were at USC or UCLA, and then you got attacked for being something.
Well, I got harassed. I also host the show at PragerU called Man on the Street, where we go to college campuses and we ask people tough questions about, current events. And about 2 hours into filming last Friday, I was chased down by 2 adult men. They were yelling at us, screaming in our faces, threatening us with violence, tried to chase us back to our cars and get our license plate.
Or something? Or the guards or something? Who were they?
It's hard to tell. They said they were students, but they looked like they were in their late 20s, early 30s. So this is the type of reality and the type of environment that they foster on university campuses. They say that you're special, that you deserve a safe space, and that you have a right to not be offended. And of course, that is completely incompatible with being an entrepreneur or being a functioning member of society in general. You have to have thick skin. You have to be able to grit it out. You have to be able to take hard news.
Aldo, you don't have to be anything. The question is, what are our campuses teaching people? You understand? Is that I think we're going into a depression. There was 1923 was the last big crash. This is 2024 today. I think we're heading into it. The idea of job security is gone. But in my opinion, I just could be wrong, but what it takes to be an entrepreneur is called core strength. Guts, G-U-T-S. And Dennis Prager, the last time on campus, I'll never go back again to a college campus. It was so wimpy. I'm afraid they're teaching young men to be girls. That's my concern. And if you want to be a girl, that's your choice. I don't really want to be. But why are they teaching boys to be wimps? That's my question.
I don't think they're trying to teach them to be wimps. I think that they are training them and conditioning them to feel comfortable and telling them that they don't need to feel, or that they don't need to be a little tougher. And people and human nature is to take the path of least resistance. So if you're told that you don't need to grit it out, that you don't need to be tough, well, then you're not going to do it. And you're going to sleep in and you're going to take your safe spaces. And if you do that for 4 years, and if you do that long enough, then you are going to come out a soft, weak blob of a human being. And most men that end up as soft, weak blobs of human beings end up just as women, or the appearance of. And so I think that's really what's going on. And so,
although we could get taken down for this one, we're going to be censored for this. They're teaching boys to suck their thumbs today. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not to man up here. And then that's why I see, it's a good news is I see women getting a lot tougher. I mean, I meet a lot of women who are female entrepreneurs. I mean, they have the gentleness, yet they're strong at the core. And in my opinion, it's called the Marine Corps. The core has to be strong. And my concern is our school systems are teaching boys to be women. But how dare they let a man compete against a woman in sports? I mean, that's just not logical. Why?
Yeah.
That's my concern, and that's why your program, The Hustle for Young Entrepreneurs, is crucial. Because if the parents or Prager doesn't teach the young people, who will? That's my concern. What do you have to say about that point of view? It's a pretty tough point of view, but it's a tough world. It's going to get tougher financially because we're the biggest debtor nation in history.
Yeah, well, let me be clear, Robert. I am against it all. I think it's ridiculous. I think that we become very lazy and we've just become very comfortable with where we are. And like you said, we're running into a depression. And the last thing that you want to be running into a depression is not being able to take things that are hard in life. It's going to get a lot harder. And that's what we teach on The Hustle, that you got to be tough, that life is tough, business is tough. And that was a common theme. Every entrepreneur we talked to talked about failure after failure after failure. And their ability to get back up on the horse and keep going was really the key to their success in every single entrepreneur that we talked to.
And these are young entrepreneurs you're talking about.
Oh yeah, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old. And when they learn those life skills that young, it doesn't matter what the economy looks like or what life throws at them. When they learn how to get back up when they fall down, and if you can do that, then you can withstand anything. And that's our message in the show.
Well said. I said, in my opinion, that's not only the key to entrepreneurship, that's the key to life. You know, as a baby, you stand up and fall down, then you walk, then you get on a bicycle, you fall off, and it just keeps going, you know. But our schools are teaching if you fall down, it means you're stupid, you made a mistake. But mistakes are how humans were designed to learn. Tiger Woods didn't start off as a pro golfer. He made a lot of bad shots to get there. So my concern is, and the reason I'm very happy about Prager University is putting out The Hustle, and with young men like you interviewing, young people like you interviewing other entrepreneurs, we've really got to prepare the next generation for what's coming. America used to be the richest generation in history. I mean, the newest country in history. My generation, the boomer generation, had it the easiest. You know, all we do is bought a house and we're millionaires. You know, it was so easy. But my generation, the boomer generation, is about to get nailed because I wrote this book here called Rich Dad's Prophecy. And that's why the biggest stock market crash in history is still coming. And it's following the 2008 crash when that sick individual, Ben Bernanke, the Fed chairman, printed trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, and COVID printed trillions and trillions of dollars. And now we're in the biggest bubble in world history. So that's why, Aldo, what you're doing is when this bubble bursts, I'm wondering how many young people have the internal fortitude, guts, the core strength to stand up, fall down, stand up, fall down, stand up, fall down, and build the next economy. That's my concern.
Well, hopefully with the release of this show, we'll have a lot more warriors and a lot more entrepreneurs that are going to be able to weather the storm. And if you guys are watching right now and you haven't checked it out yet, make sure you go to PragerU.com and check it out today. We have a new episode coming out tomorrow that I think everyone's going to love.
So tell us another story, another young person who made it as an entrepreneur.
Oh man, we had a lot of good ones. So we traveled all around the country. We were in Colorado, we were in Alabama, we were in Texas. One of my favorite episodes was actually the Texas one. It was a young man, he was 18 years old, who just liked to work with his hands. And he was wondering, how can I take my passion and turn it into a business? And so he started making leather goods, hats, wallets, briefcases out of leather goods. And now he has a very profitable business. He's making tens of thousands of dollars every single month. He's getting ready to get married soon. And so it's just very well-versed people, very impressive young people that we were able to talk to. And I even made my own belt in that episode. So it was a lot of fun, and I think the viewers will enjoy it as well.
His business was to teach you how to make your own belt?
It was leather goods. So he made wallets, he made, embroidered briefcases and bags.
My question is, was he making them, or was his job to teach you how to make it? What was the business?
He was making them, but I got to be taught because I was there on site with him, but he makes them himself.
Okay. Well, good for him. Good for him. The most important, you're teaching resilience, independence, self-assurance, courage, stand up, fall down, stand up, fall down. That's the most important thing that can be taught. So
Absolutely.
I congratulate Prager University for the hustle and all this. Final words to parents with young people. What do you have to say to young parents, let's say, because they're probably young, and they have a young child coming up? Any advice for them for their children?
My advice is that college will always, always be there. And don't push your kids into college right after high school, because at that age, the kids are the most passionate, they have the most energy, they have the most time and creativity. And if you want to kill all of that, then send them to university. But if you want them to thrive and you want them to be a successful entrepreneur, watch The Hustle. Give them a year or two before you send them into that indoctrination camp that is the American university, and let them try their hand at failing in the real world first. That's my message.
Thank you. I left high school in 1965. I got to the academy, Merchant Marine Academy, and my economic teacher had me read this book here, The Communist Manifesto. It changed my life, because I realized that most academics, like my poor dad, are Marxist. They believe in taxation, they believe in labor unions, what else do they believe in? But anyway, it's a free country. You can believe what you want. So you can go to school and go to universities and become a Marxist, or you can listen to The Hustle and become a capitalist. That's the choice you guys are making. So Aldo, keep up the good work. Thank you to the Prager University and all the young parents out there. Your future is in the children. Thank you very much, Aldo. Hello. I want to thank you to Aldo and Prager University, especially for the new generation of entrepreneurs. And the show is The Hustle. And also I got, it's more important because I'll say it again, is today there's too many college graduates without jobs, without skills. So to teach your child to be an entrepreneur at a younger age is a good idea. But I found this book here. It's called, not the book, I subscribe to The Economist. And it says here about this, there's a dwindling minority of faculty members, as few as a tenth are identified as conservative. That means 90% of colleges today are liberal Marxist. And that's who you're sending your kids to school in. And they're accruing tons of student loan debt. And this guy Obama and Biden and other guys that have student loan debt, now the number one asset of American government. And America is now the biggest debtor nation in world history. And we're on the verge of serious financial consequences. So that's why the Rich Dad Company invented the cash flow board game here. It teaches people the power of financial education by playing games and having fun. Because if you don't understand money, you'll spend your life working for money. Thank you for watching the Rich Dad Radio Show.
This podcast is a presentation of Rich Dad Media Network.